Have you ever thought of our big hairy friend Kong as evil? Probably not, right? It's been very clear since the get-go with this take on King Kong that the ape is a nice guy, unless you piss him off. But what we don't know is how the Titanis Kongs as a species acted amongst their Titan peers. In this video, we are going to theorize using the small bits of given lore that we have, along with some details of real-life great apes, to uncover if Kong's ancestors were as friendly as him, or if they were truly the cause of the Great Titan War, and potentially evil. Residents, welcome to Dangerville, and let's get to it. So for a refresher everyone, the Godzilla vs. Kong novelization, the book version of this story, pretty much gave us some information that said maybe the Kongs aren't the nice friendly guys that we all originally thought. At one point, it stated that the Kongs likely became so civilized that they began to use the other less intelligent Titans as beasts of burden. More or less slaves in the grand scheme of things. All those giant statues and great halls we see in the Hollow Earth? Yeah, the Kongs likely used other Titans to do the dirty work when building all of that, similar to how people would use elephants, horses, oxen, and more throughout history. They began to shape the ancient world into a modern direction, leaving behind much of their primal ways, destroying lots of beauty, and in a way beginning their own take on something like mankind's agricultural or possibly industrial revolutions. These actions are what we assume started the Great Titan War. Just like when Saruman began to chop down the trees of Fanghorn Forest in Lord of the Rings, resulting in massive backlash from the locals, the Kongs quickly became the target for much of the Titan wildlife who called the Hollow Earth home. But the Kongs aren't a force of darkness. They're supposed to be like us humans, right? The good guys. Well, us humans like to think that we're always the good guys and we're always in the right, but more times than not, we're the ones actually causing a lot of harm to everything around us. It's probably why the aliens haven't come to say hi yet. But even with all of that, are the Kongs really what we consider to be evil? In the new monsterverse movie, which we assume will be called Godzilla vs. Kong Origins, your move legendary, could we meet more Kongs who are anything but open-minded to meeting outsiders? We will talk more about this later, so stick around and consider stomping the subscribe button and hitting the bell if you want more of these monsterverse theories. To give you all some perspective, the other great apes of our world, like chimps, are the only other animals other than us, where it's officially documented that they kill for sport or for other means beyond just survival. They'll form war parties and hunt down other communities of their own kind, or smaller animals like monkeys, attack them, singling out one member of the opposing side, and then brutally mauling that individual, biting their hands, face, and genitals, making sure that if the victim does survive the encounter, that it will live on being disfigured and likely set to die a horribly agonizing slow death. Some pretty messed up stuff, guys. And with the monsterverse Kongs being based on and or around our world's apes and us humans, it's safe to assume that a community of Kongs would be potentially very dangerous and hostile to outsiders. So does that make them evil? While I'm sure in this fictional world that there were Kongs who were more violent than others, I wouldn't call them evil in a traditional sense. I'd just call them violent and likely troublemakers. Definitely not the cuddly Kong we see with Gia. You can imagine that the more intelligent Titans like the Godzilla weren't all that pleased when war parties of Kongs roamed the land slaughtering at will, and when they began to use other Titans to build their giant throne rooms, statues of themselves, and do their slave work, all just to suit their strange egotistical nature and growing civilizations, you can see how the Titan world was out to get them at that point. If the Kongs were truly evil, the Godzilla would have hunted down every last one of them before they could grow large enough to challenge them. But instead, they exiled them to Skull Island, where they would live on for the rest of their lives, understanding the error of their ways. We see this when Kong's parents and clan members were killed by the Skullcrawlers, and no other Titan, not Godzilla, not even Mothra, came to their aid. Now you could go and say, they didn't respond because they were dormant, you idiot. But considering how easily these things awake, I'm sure they heard the screams of the dying Kongs and simply hit the snooze button on them. No! I kinda wish they thought out the Monsterverse grand story a little bit more before getting the Godzilla vs. Kong, because an origin story that explained all this really would have made the stakes that much higher for the movie and kinda made it more tense. Oh well. So could we see more of the Kongs in the future of the Monsterverse though? I'll put together a nice theory video on this topic, which make sure and go check that out when you get a chance, but in short, he describes a scenario where a lost community of Kongs are found in the Hollow Earth, who have been hiding since the Great War, These apes are first excited to see our Kong, but once they learn that Kong has become allies with the big G-Man, they quickly turn violent, causing a whole bunch of trouble and grief before Kong can show them the error of their ways. Now in my theory, I could see this working with the new Origins thing going on. Kong finds a hostile group of his kind and must convince them to fight with the other Titans and even Godzilla himself in order to stop this new threat that is a danger to human and Titan life all the same. So as we close this theory, just picture Godzilla and Kong side by side, facing this new threat, and then behind them, a war party of savage primal Kongs, ready to put it all on the line to save all life on planet Earth. But this is just a theory. What's some of yours? Let us know down in the comments. So residents, if y'all like this video, consider sharing around with your friends to get the algorithm all fired up. And if you want to see more content like this, with my, face and all that, make sure to go check out my new channel, Rippy, where I cover all sorts of topics and cool stuff like that. Anyway though, thanks for stopping by at Dangerville. This has been Jacob, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace out.